Yo, this is Allu. You got pretty big balls to watch Thorin's YouTube videos.
In this version of the ENCE team, it basically is the exact same lineup from the next year that has all the success and does all the great things. Right? Usually in CSGO, I mean, even if we just listen to the course of your career, lineups very rarely ever last more than 1 year without some sort of player change. And even if they win, you know, they have like a period where they're good in the middle and then they go down a little bit. And it's just kind of the life cycle of a team. How did this team stay together for so long? But also, how do you go through a period where it's like you haven't had the success yet, but not make a change? Because obviously, and there's another thing people won't know, in old school Finnish CS, they were the fastest to make the player change. You know, you lose the one tournament, you cut the guy the next day. So how did this team, what was it about this squad where you could keep it together for so long and kind of actually really build it up? You know, this was a team that actually did go levels up one at a time.
I think like if we go back to the beginning, like there was like when we started to play, it instantly felt like, you know, it felt like good in a way that like people are really motivated, like really pumped up to play, you know, like you really need this kind of atmosphere that people really want to be there, you know, right? Like you want to play, you want to practice, you want to compete, right?
Sure.
And then we played these like qualifiers at the beginning where we lost to like bunch of like unknown, like really really bad teams, you know, like not even teams necessarily, like some mixed teams. Like I remember, yeah, like we lost to some, like in some open qualifier or whatever, we lost to some Finnish team or mixed team that like I've never heard of one nickname before, and I think I haven't heard them after that. Either. And like, you know, you would think that these kind of results, they would like break a new team, right?
Yes.
Like that things start to go wrong, but we really had a trust in the process. Like I remember saying like a lot, like we practiced good, you know, the practice felt and looked good. It's not like, you know, you are like overplaying your hand in practice and that's why you get good results in practice, but it was rather that we played really like good CS, we had a good comms, good synergy in the game in prac, and I was like saying to the guys, I remember that if we just have to, you know, get that one, you know, confidence booster, and then we start to play a bit more like we normally play, you know, because it was quite shaky at the start. And then we actually we leveled up kind of like this, right? But
Yes.
It was still quite fast in the sense that like we qualified for Cologne.
Yes.
Then in Cologne we beat Mouse Sports and
NiP,
yeah,
and then
NiP.
almost beat Navi. You won the tournament.
Yeah, then we almost beat Navi. Yeah, it was close game.
Yes.
And then like we went to the minor. There we didn't qualify, unfortunately, but I guess it was like, if you think about it another way, it was like maybe needed that we don't achieve too much in too little, or like in too little time, you know?
For people's egos or what?
Yeah, I think so. And then like we also had and after that, I think after that we kind of almost added Twista, and I think like Twista really evaluated the team like to a higher level.
Okay.
Like in terms of that, like we didn't have a coach before, right?
Right.
And like when we got a guy who had like way different like perspective for the game, like, or not different, but like he could like fix flaws that we didn't see basically, and give tips and give like, you know, better or not necessarily better, but different views, like if we lost some round a lot or at some point he could like, you know, because in CS you easily get tunnel vision, right?
Yes.
Like you kind of like, let's say you practiced nuke a lot, then you win the pistol, and then the second round you like used to call one thing you're like comfort strat for the opponent force by, and then you kind of switch your brain to the autopilot in a way and just call it like every time in a match.
Yes.
Also, which is like okay, but you get easily read, right?
Of course.
In a sense, and Twista was really good at like pointing out these factors, for example, and also like upgrading our stuff, and just giving people like small maybe
Tweaks
tips
or
or
whatever.
tips and tricks, like what to
Yes.
do in your position, right? Like
Right.
maybe you can use this smoke, or when this player, your teammate, goes to here, maybe you can go here, you know, stuff like this. He was like, and after that, after we added Twista, we came second in DreamHack Montreal,
Okay. Yeah.
and after that, I think we played Star Series,
Yes.
which was like a huge like tier 2 tournament. There wasn't really like tier 1 teams. I think there was like Mouse Sports.
Yeah, there was only a couple that were good.
Yeah,
but,
like couple.
Obviously, still a big tournament to win, though.
Yeah, like really big for us, especially. And like then we come there and we win the whole thing, and it was great. Like,
I have a question about Twister, though. If you're saying that, right, that, you know, his thing was he like a different perspective, different set of eyes, you know, giving obviously some of the newer players, you can give them a tip of just play it a bit differently, or in the demo it's going to be a bit obvious. Would you ever take any tips? You seem a bit to me like fucking Raikkonen from Formula One, where, you know, if you ever hear the radio comps, if the pit people are like come in the thing, he's like, yeah, fucking no, shut up, I'm driving. Like, you know, it's like, have I got the wrong vibe there, Ali? You seem like you kind of, you want to do things your way.
yeah, you are correct, but I also like maybe like it is also like one of my biggest flaws, I would say, which I obviously gotten better with age. But like if I have how would I like to give an example? Maybe if I have I have an idea of how to play the round or my own move, right? And then some guy tells me that, okay, maybe it's better to do this way. Like, I most likely will not accept it at the first.
Yes.
You know,
a bit stubborn.
Yeah, but then like if the guy can say that, okay, you should do this because if you do this, it's better than I kind of need an explanation.
Right,
yeah, if he can explain it, then I obviously if it makes sense, like I'll do it, Okay. But maybe I am pretty bad at taking just if you have to do this now and then nothing, and then I think that maybe doing this is better than doing that, and then somebody just forces me to do that, and I'm like, why? At that I'm pretty bad, yeah, I would say.
Right, obviously, even though, like you say, winning the Star Series, it's a massive, on paper, it's like, wow, you won Star Series, you won all this prize money. As you say, though, because the best teams weren't there, I feel like you were still no one was paying attention. But qualifying to the major is obviously a big deal. I mean, if you made this brand new project out of nowhere, like you said, the last minor, you didn't make it, was it a big deal to you to be like, I'm back at the World Championship, I'm going to be, I actually get a chance to play against all the best teams now?
Yeah, for sure. Even before that, I think we played DreamHack Winter. It was a smaller tournament than Star Series, but we won that also. There wasn't really a bunch of tier 1 teams again, but there was G2s and Optics and whatever, teams, or Heroic, whatever, something. And we won that tournament, so we were we were making constant progress, even though we weren't skyrocketing instantly to the top, but we were taking baby steps all the time, which is, I think it's really important and natural. And then we qualify for the major. It was also first we won the minor, and then we go to the major qualifier and we qualify. The feeling was really great. I remember when we played in the major itself, Katowice 2019. It really felt like it was my first LAN, the kind of the excitement and all that was really, really, really nice. The feels, and also it was a quite stressful time for myself, as my girlfriend was pregnant, and she gave birth during the major, right?
Oh, okay. So she couldn't be there. You had to keep playing CS.
There was this crazy the due date or whatever. I don't know the English term for.
Yeah. That's simple to say.
Yeah, I was like, was there, and she was already in the hospital, and the thing has started, like the giving birth had started already, and then we had a game against like Renegades or 100 Thieves or the team with ACR.
Yeah. The Australians.
Australians, and we lost it. And if we won that game, like we had a break because then we qualified for the next stage, right? And then next day we have a second game or the next game, and I can't remember who it was against, but I was so stressed that we need to win this game, so I can go, because then I would have time to go back home and fly back, right? And then we fortunately won that game. Then like the same day or the next day, 5 a.m., I fly to Finland, back to home. I go to the hospital. I'm there, like all goes well. I'm a father now. I stay there for one night. I come back to Katowice. It was crazy.
Sure. Let me ask you a question about that then. Obviously, normally I don't ask about like personal stuff, but since you brought up this story, I want to ask this, right? Nowadays, if a player ever has a child, like Pasha, I'm trying to think who else, Electronic had one, right? Glaves obviously can have one now, but fans always go, like if he ever then has like a bad 2 months, they just go like, oh, well, it's understandable, he's had like a child, so now he can't think about CS and stuff. I want to ask you what it's like, because I have a perspective that's different, right? I think personally, if you have like a wife, if you have a child, if you have some, like, to me, that's like, that can be more motivation. That's like, now I've got to succeed. Now, like, I've got to do it for them.
I agree.
That vibe?
Like, I agree. Like, to be honest, like, for myself, like, becoming a father, it has been really important and probably the most, like, changing like a thing that has happened to me,
Sure.
Like, because you are not like responsible for yourself anymore. You only have a little guy you have to look after, and it is like, obviously it comes with like it can also be hard, the night sleep, you don't get enough sleep, whatever, but it is still like it is just awesome. Like, I also think that it is rather a booster than a downer, in the sense that like, well, it can be either, I guess, but like, at least for me, it really helped me to see Counter-Strike as a whole, like a lot of different, like as a job, as a like to be a professional, and yeah, but the way it happened, like becoming a father during the major and shit, it was rough. I have to say, it was like you kind of live in a fog,
Yes.
As you're so like a lot of new things happening, a lot of stuff. So,
I mean, this makes the results in the playoffs even more crazy, though, because if people don't know, you had the bracket where it's like you're literally the team that has no chance. Everyone's like, right, Team Liquid beats ENCE, then Team Liquid plays Na'Vi, maybe they win that, who knows, they're two of the top teams, and then obviously, the finals, like the big teams, and it's an epic final, right? So I actually know, I've talked to some of the Team Liquid players after this match you played against them, and some of them basically admitted to me, Allu, like, yeah, we didn't really like sort of like study ENCE, and like we just assumed we would win. Like, we just thought it's just going to be easy. And then similarly, you played Na'Vi and Simple. Like, at the time, everyone was like, no one could beat Simple. Like, even in that game, he was going crazy. Like, what was this like on your side? Like, did you actually go into any of these games thinking like, we should beat these games, or we've got the game plan to beat these teams?
Obviously, we went there. Like, I think we weren't really like. I think only team that we were like. It can sound stupid, but I think like only team that we were afraid or like scared of was Astralis, actually. Because like I think we saw them kind of like as a upgraded ourselves, like,
yes,
as a better version of our team. So in that sense, like, but like when we played Liquid, like obviously they were statistically everything like are the better team, right? But we knew that we can beat them, and after we beat them, like we knew that we can beat Na'Vi. So it's like obviously, like I've been on the other side also, like in Team Liquid shoes per se, to be the heavy favorites, and you play some unknown team,
Yes.
It can be really hard to like have the mindset that you really need to win, that like which like usually you can see like better teams struggle against like lesser teams quite often, right? And
Yes.
it's mostly due because they don't have the same like same charge to kind of play and win than they would have like when they play the Navis or whatever, you know.
Yes.
But well, anyways, that's like your shits. Like that's one thing that I've learned at least many times actually, that you have to treat every game the same basically. So like it doesn't really matter if you play against like Liquid or whatever team, you know, or
Sure.
ENCE. Like you just need to have the same mindset that you have to win, and the game is not won until you like win it, right?
Sure.
It was like a funny thing, like was that like before or after the Liquid game, and the next day we have Navi, and I see Simple outside, right?
Okay.
Outside the hotel, and like he's just saying to me like, you know, tomorrow you are not playing Noob Liquid.
Okay. You're shit talking a bit. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, we are playing you. What up? And then we kind of just, you know, I didn't really pay attention to it too much, but it was like funny that he says that, and then we like a little bit trashed each other or went through the veto. I remember it was Electronic there as well, and I'm like, yeah, we are gonna pick Cash, and then Electronic was like, no, you know, because they ban it, right?
Yeah, of course.
But like we didn't play Cash either, right?
You're just mind gaming him.
Yeah, like I don't know, yeah, it probably didn't matter at all, but it was fun. And the game also against Navi, it was insane. Like
It's pretty epic, right?
Yeah, like I remember actually, like I think like that we played Train was the first map, and we won it, and then in Dust 2 we really got wrecked, right? Like we got like 16-1 or something, and I think I had like maybe 3 or 2 frags in Dust 2.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And like Dust 2 has
It's always your map.
usually been my like comfort
Yeah,
map, you know, where I'm, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? You know, thinking myself like, we are in this stage of the tournament, and I'm like, you know, well, obviously, like if we get one round, like there wasn't particularly anyone who was doing that well, but still, I'm like thinking, what the fuck? And then like we go to Mirage, and in Mirage the same like continues. Like in my own screen, like anything you do, you just get wrecked.
Okay.
You know? And I think in Mirage also, like I had like maybe 6 to 20 at the start, but then like when the game was closing down a bit, then I started to frag a little bit more. But I just remember it like really clearly that like it was really hard, like individually for me. The game, the last 2 maps against Navi, like it was like, I don't know. And the X7 clutch or the simple 1v4 clutch, failed clutch, whatever, like all those moments, like it was a crazy game.
One thing I want to ask is, like, in the past in your career, when you've been in positions like that, like top tournaments, big matches, usually it's in the teams where you have like all the legendary teammates or like the best players in the world. To take a project like ENCE that basically no one knew if it could succeed, or even succeeding at that time would be just go to a tournament like that. Never mind go to the final or something. Was it a big deal? Like, was it what was the experience like in the sense that you were taking all these guys who were unknowns? They haven't been to the top like you have, and you go into the biggest game in the world.
Yeah, I think like when we played Liquid, I think the atmosphere in the team was quite chill. You know, it wasn't a big deal for us for some reason. I don't know why. Like even though it was a quarterfinal of a major, which like I guess should be like a huge deal. But like for us, it was like I think if I remember correctly, it was more like you know we are here and we like you know we deserve to be here and we want to go further, kinda like. And we really believed we can do it. And then against Navi, I think the feeling was also the same, that we are like, you know, as I said before, like we beat Navi, we can beat Liquid, you know? I mean, no, we beat Liquid, we can beat Navi. And then like, but then I remember like, because like when we went to the venue with the with the shuttle, like the other days, like the mood in the bus was always like pretty chill, like people were joking around a bit and, you know? stuff like that. But then, like when the grand finals came, like then I really like started to notice a lot of tension. Like maybe people realized that we are here now.
Yes.
Like people realize that oh my God, we actually are in the grand final of a major. We are one step of winning the whole thing. Like even though it's unlikely, but still it kind of hit us. I think
Sure.
the moment, and that's like I kind of like I myself, I tried to like kind of the thought that I had, like or like that I started to notice this kind of tension. I kind of tried to put it out from my mind. Maybe I'm just like thinking of like making it up. This is just another day. But like still, like I think like if we would have won that game, it would have been crazy. Like it would have been like honestly crazy. Like it would have been the Cinderella story of lifetime.
Sure.
Like for sure, but like we knew, or like in train, I think the game was pretty close. Like we lost like 13-16, maybe 12-16, and there was like a couple of clutches that could have gone other way, and maybe we could have, but we really needed to win train, and I think they picked Inferno, and at that like when we entered the Inferno game, like I think that's where we already like somehow were like we had accepted that this team is just out of our league,
Yes.
at least now, and then like they stumped us. It was not close. It was not close. They like gave us a really big lesson there, and but like still it was like it was a great result for us. I think it was a great boost of our confidence
Sure.
levels, and then after that we went to Sao Paulo Blast.
Sure.
And there we placed third, and we drew Astralis, or we lost 16-14 there. Then we won other games. Then we had a game against Liquid for the grand final spot, and we were actually leading fifth. I don't remember. Like was it 14-14 or something, or 15-14 for us? I think Blast had a like. They accepted draws back then.
Yes, you could have a tie.
Yeah, tie, yeah. Maybe it was 15-14, and we had like 2-on-5 after plant in overpass A site as T, and we planted the bomb, and we lose the round, and it comes to tie, and because of the tie, Liquid goes to the grand final, and not us.
Right.
Like, I just remember the feeling after that, like, what the fuck happened? In your head, like, what the fuck just happened? But yeah, like after all, like still a really good result for us. Like I think, like one of the keys, or like maybe the biggest strength of like ENCE, like the original ENCE or whatever, right? Was that like our team play and like our player roles in game like were like a good match.
Yes.
Like people, nobody kind of stepped to each other's toes too much, at least. Like everybody was having their own moments and their own, everybody felt like in game pretty good, I would say. And then like we ran like we also, because we played together for such a long time, I think it's really a big advantage.
Right.
Because then you have solutions faster. You have like when you play a clutch or XVX with some guys, you have done it 100 times, 1,000 times before. You kind of know that in similar situations, maybe do this, maybe you go with the comfort call or whatever. But even though like it's not the best option, it usually works because you kind of have done it so many times, so you just believe in it so much.
Yes. One thing I want to ask about was, I mean, you're listing off like qualities that the team had. One thing I noticed, especially at this time when you started to go to like tier 1 level and you were competing for titles, is normally underdog teams are really streaky and inconsistent. You know, they have one tournament where they're amazing and then they one where, you know, someone doesn't frag out and the team's that good. This team seemed to have very strong mental, like the mental fortitude was really high. Even if you were behind in games, you know, the team would like grind back into the game. Like, would you agree? Where did this come from?
Yeah, I think it was just I have to Google this word, like the whole team as a whole. We were like strong, you know.
Okay.
Mentally, like Twista said to me like at one point that I'm the backbone, you know, of the team. Kind of, if I break, the whole team breaks. But like, I don't necessarily like agree to extent, but I think still like every one of us, like we had this like just mindset that we refuse to lose, kind of, in a way. You know, we don't like, and like that we believe that we can win. Like obviously, like we had like good results, then we had some bad results also, but like we kind of I don't remember that much that we ever gave up. You know, like you can see it in many games, or like in even in top level CS, you just see sometimes when the game goes like when a team loses, like let's say 2 times 1-on-3 or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
And it really affects the morale, and like then the kind of domino effect goes, and the team that lost, they kind of lose. But we were really strong with that. I remember we just repeated ourselves, like we used to lose like the craziest anticos and whatever, and we were like instantly when that happened, like people were just laughing it off, you know, it's just a normal day for us, you know. Like like against Liquid also in the major, I think we lost 1-on-4 to NAF or something.
Yes, he was right.
Yeah, and whatever, and like I remember maybe it was myself saying like just like, you know, fuck it, we always lose this, you know.
Okay.
Like we can let them have that, you know.
Sure.
It's fine, you know, and that was like the whole attitude of the whole team, kinda, that we didn't let things bother us too much, like in game if it happened, like because you always like, I think that was also like one of our key strengths is that like you kinda, you know, in CS, because there is like 5 players in your team, like somebody usually in games somebody does something that kills you, you know, your teammate kind of fucks you up somehow.
Sure.
And whatever, or the opponent shoots insane one-shots or whatever, but like we were really good at like not letting anything affect us, kind of, that we just stayed normal in a way, no matter what. And I think that is like really important key, because like then the frustration, if it grows, you start to maybe play a bit different, and then it you know, it's good to be stable, I think, no matter what happens.
Yes.
Obviously, we also
keep going.
Yeah, like obviously we also like, I remember we had like when we had struggles, it was usually when people didn't communicate it well, like because like our team kind of like, even though we were not a hype team per se, but we kind of needed that everybody had like good feeling to play, you know, like the people were like saying these small things, yeah, I flash for you, whatever, you know, which is also really important in CS. So we like the basics of Counter-Strike, we had in a pretty good control, I think, or like we had a really good understanding of the basics of Counter-Strike. Like we didn't do anything crazy ever, I would say. Like all our strats were pretty like basic, or reactions were pretty basic, you know. Everything was pretty basic, but we did it really well.
I mean, I would follow up on that. I would ask you a question, because when I think about the strengths of ENCE as well, like obviously most people didn't look at the team and go like, wow, it's all superstar players and aimers. Like, you know, some players were good, but actually I always thought the strength of the team was what you just said there. Like the fundamentals were really good. Like I've always said to people, yeah, true, it's certain players, yeah, they do just shoot everyone in the head and you can't stop them. But in general in CS, the principles that mean the game will always be fascinating no matter how good the players are is like, for example, on T side, the best best CT player in the world. If you throw flashbangs in his face, he can't shoot you. He's blind. If you're on CT yourself, if the best player in the world could be peeking, like Twists could be doing like a Ferrari peek with an AK, but if you have a 2-on-1 setup that's like a crossfire, one guy's going to kill him. Like these factors can work. You can repeat that formula again and again, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like trading also is really important.
Yes.
That's like something like kind of like that I like to emphasize a lot also, is that like if you just like if you go together like in a 4-on-2 situation or whatever, like you should always win.
Yes.
Like by odds. So just do that rather than split 2-2 one guy sets, you know. It's
Exactly.
like it is just like it's like basic math that like if you have the advantage you should use it, I think, most of the time. And also like and that's also like what we like kind of like you see this like many times that like the low player or like let's say there is a guy who is low in your T side or whatever, then the AWPer gives him the AWP, right? So he can play with the AWP and still be useful, right? Because it's but like we had the mentality kind of that if you're low and we play mid round, when we hit the site, the low player goes first.
To make it more efficient, yeah.
Yeah, and that the reasoning is that like there's two things. Like first of all, if it goes to like 1-on-1 or whatever, the low player has a pretty low chance of winning, even though he would have an AWP, kind of, because then it like one shot with M4 AK is enough, like to the leg also. But the more important reasoning is that like when you enter a site and CT is holding you, usually his like in a top level of Counter-Strike, the crosshair placement is pretty good, so he will insta-headshot the first guy, almost always. and if he insta-headshots the first player who has 1 HP, he has harder time to adjust his aim to the guy who has 100 HP who's behind him. So it's more even, the duel, you know?
Sure.
And I think like with this kind of things, we also won a lot of rounds. Just by like small details, and but yeah, like all in all, like the fundamentals of Counter-Strike, like and together, like we as a 5, like we understood like kind of each other in a good way, you know, that we like kind of, I would say like everyone knew, like for example, like Aleksib was really good at using like aerial, for example.
Okay.
Like, you know, that like, you know, Ariel, come here, I flash for you, you go, like, you know.
Right.
And then like stuff like this, Aleksib was really good at. And then like I, on the other hand, was really good at like reacting to whatever they did, you know. Like in a way that like we had a good, like, you know, when it goes here, it goes like, you know, it works chemistry. Like a clock. Yeah, like the chemistry in game was like really good. Like whatever, like then like we had a like yeah, it was nice.
Right, obviously, a game I have to ask you about is the storyline was perfect when you made it to this next Blast final, because you're playing against the same Astralis team from the major final. At the time, if everyone remembers, they even had that, like, they were about to, like, break NiP's record for, like, 32-0 or something on Nuke or whatever. Like, they never lost on this map, ever. So, like, again, and people would think, like, well, they're supposed to just win this final, like, and your team obviously has this epic victory. So, give me your thoughts on that one. Like, was it, first of all, like, this is the era when people, you know, they were taking some time off or whatever the fuck. Like, did the team think you were going to win this final? Was it an unusual match?
I think we had the mindset that we are going to win here. Like, that's what I think, at least. Like, we used to, like, because we were pretty good in Nuke, right? Like, it was a good map for us, and like we were always like talking about it, that like we are the ones who are going to break the record, you know, or like the streak, that we will be the ones, and it happened then. Like, it is, gaming is believing, like Get Right used to say.
You had a pretty good quote, didn't you? Just tweet like right after the match, like, had to be done, or something gangster like that. It's pretty good, something like that, I think. maybe something like that. It sounds like me. Yeah, but like I remember also in that tournament, like we won Navi first match, then
we got crushed by NiP. So basically, like NiP wasn't a top team at this point,
exactly.
right? So basically, and Navi was on the other hand. So like basically, we just gave away our like the good we've done beating Navi, we gave away by losing to NiP. But it is what it is. And then like we beat Cloud9. Then we beat Astralis in the group. And then like for some reason, like if we didn't beat like the last game, we would have not made the final, I think. And the last game was against Giants. Like
the Portuguese team.
Yeah. And we really struggled there. Like it was like we won 16-14 this match. And if we would have tied or lost, I think it would have not been enough to go to the final.
Okay.
Which is like, it's the small margins, you know?
Yes.
But yeah, in the final itself, like I think like we were just like, you know, we had grown from the little seeds that we were in the Katowice major. We had grown to a big strong tree that like we had the attitude that we like rather like as I said before, like it didn't really feel like we had the attitude that we can win or in the major, right?
Yes.
But now, like with all the XP, everything we've done together, like now we were ready to kind of lift the trophy, I would say. And sure, maybe Astralis wasn't in the prime form or whatever, but still, like, you know, huge victory for us.
Even though at the time, like, look, in a sense, the Blast events were big. Like, they'd be in a stadium, they'd have like a huge crowd, like it did have all the lights and stuff. Obviously, there was like a tournament, like, you know, people want to win the major or win Cologne or something. Just because of the context that you did beat Astralis and in this way, was this actually one of the big moments of your career, would you say?
Oh, not really. Like, as like still, like if you think about it, like rationally, it is still like you only win one best of 3.
True.
Basically. And like even though like I dislike to talk about like best of 1s being so random and whatever, I don't agree with that, but still like best of 3 is obviously the superior concept to determine. And if you win a tournament by winning one best of 3, I don't know, you know. like still you win, obviously it counts, but still it's not the same as you would like win, like let's say the major where you win 3 best of 3s in a playoff bracket too.
Yes.
It kind of gives better, like, you know. But yeah, it still was huge, you know. It was really great, like especially like beating Astralis obviously is like really good moment because like they were so good back then, like so good. So it's something to be proud of if you take them down.
Yes. Right. Even though the next period was loads of good results, like making finals, like loads of top placings, the main problem ENCE had was the 2 teams who were, in theory, the top 2 teams, Vitality and Team Liquid, so many times they were the ones that eliminated you. They were the ones that put you out. I mean, the craziest one was when they put you out of Cologne in like last place, but somehow you played Vitality in the last place. It was like, what the fuck? Like, these are like 2 of the top 3 teams. So was there something about these 2 teams that made them tough to beat? What was the challenge?
Like overall, like I have to check for a little bit, but like if you like, for example, we played the CS Summit, right? Like
yes.
we went to CS Summit and then from there we went to DreamHack.
Dallas, yeah.
And in this like in DreamHack, I mean in CS Summit we really struggled, right? In the group stage we were pretty close to not getting to the playoffs. Then we play Vitality and then we lose, right? And then like then we place top 4. Then we go to Dallas, and Dallas we reach the final.
Yep.
Yeah, and here, like in Dallas, like even though we reached the final, like we didn't really beat anyone like that good, you know?
Yes.
I would say.
Because the problem is the Furia team beat the Vitality squad, so you were playing.
Yeah, like we played like like we played the first match was Isurus, then we played G2, which was not like the G2 of today.
No, exactly.
Then we played Furia, which were like they were not up there, you know.
Yes.
They were like on the rise, but they were not like a top team. Then we beat FaZe with Neo. And this FaZe team was also not like the better versions of FaZe, I would say. And then like we played Liquid, and the game was really tight though, but we still lost, right?
Yep.
Then we go to Cologne, we lose to Heroic, and then we lose to Vitality again, right?
And the Heroic was the best of one.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah, it was, yeah. But anyway, like whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Then after that, we go to IEM Chicago.
Yep.
And we beat Renegades in the first match, and they hadn't practiced for 2 months or something.
Right. Okay.
Because like Gratisfaction had some visa issues or whatever.
Yeah, got trapped in New Zealand.
Yeah, like something. Then we beat Heroic, who had like, which is like not the Heroic that we know today.
Yeah, of course.
Again, like they had like NATO Suffix and some other players there. Then we play semifinals against MIBR, who play with the coach.
Oh yes, true. They had instead of Cold Zero, yeah.
Yeah. Instead of their best player, I would say. Yeah, and we get to the final, right? And then we play Liquid and we get spanked in best of 5. Like,
I think I see where you're going on some of this. Like some of these matches, you don't really have the warm up, right? You're just going straight into a game against the top team.
Yeah, like what I'm like saying is that like even though we played good and we were a good team, you know, but I still think that we were maybe a bit more like overlooked or like overplaced, you know.
People were overrating you.
Yeah, I would say so, because if you look at this, like our tournaments and whatever, and the results and who we actually played and who didn't, and when we played someone, who did we win and whatever, like it doesn't really, you know, match. Obviously,
there's not that many top 5 teams you beat.
We obviously we did good. Like we were good, no doubt. But I think the ENCE era or whatever, what would you call it, is like maybe it's a bit, maybe it has been a bit overrated in the sense.
Yes. Well, I mean, one of the reasons why I understand why you would say that, by the way, is because obviously when the major went badly, which maybe we'll talk about now, when the major went badly and the team didn't make it far, like obviously on paper you had an amazing bracket, you're at least supposed to make the semi-finals, maybe you can make the final, right? When this happens, obviously when it was announced pretty quickly that like Aleksib is going to be cut. Everyone, the reason they lost their minds is if they go on Wikipedia now and see all these second players like first, they're going to think like, what are you doing, you idiots? Like the team was amazing. But as you say, if you go and look at the results, like, you know, beyond a couple of big wins, yeah, it's not like the other squads. It's not like I'm sure whatever Navi's record or Team Liquid or some of these. So basically, like, let's talk a little bit about that. What happened at the major? Give me your perspective.
First of all, like, so it was the major in Berlin. And we 3-0'd our group, right? And there we finally won Vitality. We won, whatever. But then, like, we got an easy bracket per se,
yes,
right?
Did you think it as well?
But actually, well, yeah, on paper, yeah. But actually, the only team we didn't want to play was Renegades.
Okay, why is that?
We always struggled against them, like just always. Like apart from the one victory where they didn't, you know, when we,
when they had the player who went.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Apart from that, I think we always lost to them, like always.
There was some what you kind of like a bit similar as teams or something. There was something like there was like map overlap and a bunch of stuff,
like,
right?
I don't know, like they just had our number somehow. I remember like just thinking that. How do they like always like they do the correct thing against us, you know? Maybe it was luck, I don't know. But like anyways, like it felt like really hard to play against them. It felt way more hard to play against them than like a lot more better teams, you know?
Okay.
And I don't know why. Maybe it was a good mix like for them to play against us. You know, sometimes teams click in a way that like you can have an easier time against a way better team than the one team that is like, you know, lesser. But but yeah, and then like after that, yeah, like the feeling in the major was good though, like overall, anyways, but like, well, yeah, it's pretty hard to speak about the trade or the kicking or whatever of Aleksib because like the thing like really blowed up, right?
Oh, of
It
course,
really
yeah, it became enormous.
it
Yeah.
it really like it was really like in multiple ways very like dirty and very like like everything just went to shit, and
Okay.
it really was hard times for our team especially, and probably for Aleksi as well, because there was a lot of like everything flying around everywhere, like people putting like that someone is an angel, someone is a devil, and like
Yes.
like crucifying everyone and
Yes,
whatever. Like
exactly.
it was like it really affected like myself at least. Like it was really really hard times, but what can you do?
Sure. I've got a couple of questions. Here's the thing, right? Obviously, as you say, it's a sensitive topic. So if you don't want to answer a question, you can say no comment and then we'll move to the next one. Right. One thing I'd heard, and this is just something I heard, my sources, I was told one of the reasons, because again, from the outside, if people only look at the team, like I said, they're going to think this move just doesn't make sense. Like they kicked out the guy who helped them get all the results. But one thing I heard, which if I heard this, I have to say, it made me, at least, it sort of made him a bit more sense. I heard some story, like, I don't know why, but even though the team had all these results, maybe because there was too many tournaments, that like when the team was going to do a boot camp for the major, that Aleksib was basically just like, I don't want to do a boot camp. And that kind of like pissed people off. They were like, oh, what the fuck? Like, we're supposed to try and win the major. Is that accurate? Do you want to comment on that?
It's accurate, but it's taking out of the context really, because like it's understandable why he didn't want to do that, and the reason is that because he knew already that he's going to get removed after the major.
Right.
So
Okay.
in that sense, like you can't really blame the guy.
Okay.
In my opinion, like it is like it would be stupid to like talk trash,
Sure.
because of that. Like but like. Yeah, like I've obviously like now that I had a break for 3 months from CS, right? And I've just been grinding back right now, but like I have had a lot of time to think, and I've been thinking a lot about like, well, obviously a lot about like ENCE times, and then like way before, but like I'm not really sure like where did it go wrong in a way, like for the lineup, like
Yes.
because like even like to to say this, like it might sound like bad, but like we like why we changed Aleksi was that we like wanted to level up again, and we felt that this is the way to do it, and obviously it wasn't, right?
Yes.
But the reasoning is that like I don't know what people think, but like at least me myself, I wanna
Sure.
I wanna be as high as possible, right?
Yeah.
And like any change or whatever in a team, like you do, it can obviously go wrong, but you do it because you wanna be better.
Of course. Yeah.
And like yeah, like after all, like after now, then like you can argue that maybe it was a bad move to make, but I still think that like I do think that like we would have fallen,
Oh, it would have gone downhill anyway.
yeah, anyways,
Right.
and like kind of tried to avoid that by
Right.
change, which then actually just fast forwarded
Yes.
the
Yes.
downfall. But in any case, like yeah, but I think like because like even though our fundamentals were really good, like fundamental everything, but it started to like somehow like as we went through here, like the results were good, right? Placing
Yes.
second, having victory against Australis, whatever. But like overall, like we had made progress all the way, right? Like from the start of the team to a certain point, we made progress, right? But then here, like it kind of felt that it stalls, that we don't go forward anymore, kinda, but rather backwards. At least
Sure.
how I would analyze it. But like, but yeah, it is what is done, and yeah.
No, it makes sense. Another question I had was this. This one is basically, I actually think, without putting any pressure on you, listen, you guy knows how to play under pressure. This is probably the biggest question of the interview, Allu, because how you answer this question will make all those people who either thought, like, basically they did that fucking thing where they split, like it's Team Aleksib versus Team Allu, and it's like, whoever I like, the other guy was the fucking piece of shit and was right, you know, that's what, you're right, that is what the fans did. This is the question, right? Because of the timing of when it happened, and that Aleksib was the in-game leader. So you said earlier in the interview, your strength is sort of like being a secondary caller, and like, you know, in the middle of a round, you say something from what you see, right? The perception from the outside, it's a bit like what's happened in the careers of Shocks and Nico, where sometimes they kick the in-game leader and they become the in-game leader. The perception is that means Allu thought Aleksib isn't that good in-game leader. I could be better, and so I'll basically just do his job. So I basically am saying I'm better than Aleksib as an in-game leader. What would you say to this this question?
I would say like we have different strengths, but like, and Aleksi is a really good in-game leader. It's not about leadership. I would say the trade was never about leadership. It was rather like what the meme became also, that firepower, right?
Right, okay.
Yeah, like it was more about like, because like, you know, we mostly lost to these teams that had these like
Superstar players.
yeah, whatever, like, and we wanted to add to that, like, kinda, and that's about it. It's more about that than about leadership.
Okay, and then the one other question along these lines, and again, maybe this is incorrect, what I've heard. If people remember, the weird part about the story is that Sonny hadn't been playing CS for ages. He was just sat basically watching like the rest of us on stream. And even though at the end of his mouse sports time, there was all these stories like maybe he was going to join Cloud9, he got offers there. I heard behind the scenes, because we're talking, by the way, before the Katowice major, I heard behind the scenes that obviously, you know, you've played with him in the past in some of the old ENCE teams. I heard that it was like, oh, like maybe you can come and join ENCE, but the problem is like, you know, we gotta like, you know, wait a second, and then because you had the Katowice result, and then you beat Astralis and you win Blast, it's like, look, you can't come now. Like we can't kick anyone right now. Like look at the team's doing. So it was sort of like just wait, and if anything ever goes wrong, we can maybe bring you in the team. Like that would be the move we'd want to make. So was there also, like, was this kind of in the background that if the team went downhill, or as you said, eventually, like, I agree, I thought the team was like a very good team tactically, but it did lack a bit of firepower if you want to be the best in the world. Was this always something where, like, eventually one day someone was going to have an issue and Sonny was going to join the team?
Yeah, I think so. Like, there's also like some things that like kind of like forced the move, or like, how to say, yeah, like there is just some things that like forced the move like sooner than it like should have happened, I think, but
Okay.
I won't say those, because I don't wanna be a douchebag.
All right, fair enough.
And but yeah, definitely, like, I remember like talking with Sunny about this Cloud9 thing in actually during the major. Like he was like, we had a phone call about it, and he like asked me also to come there with him. And then like I'm like, yeah, maybe, you know, maybe, but I don't know. Like, you know, I'm just becoming becoming a father, whatever, you know. And then it kind of hanged, and then he was like, he doesn't want to go there alone, I think. Maybe it was so. And then, like, obviously, like, Sonny is a great player, right?
Sure.
And like, if you want to make the ultimate Finnish team, like, he should be part of it.
Yes.
I guess. And And also like we like to go back to the like Sunny and Aleksib trade or the like the swap is also like we thought that like because Sunny is good, right? And that we like the roles that Aleksi plays, right? They were not the like the common in-game leader roles per se,
Sure.
like the how would you say like the dog roles.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
were actually like good roles, like fragger roles, which he did pretty good. But we thought that maybe Sunny could do it better, you know? 'Cause you always enter the second to the bomb side, you can trade, whatever,
Sure.
whatever, like just like in basic, like really simplified, whatever. But then like, it really didn't really go that well. Like I think it really didn't like the end of 2019 really didn't go as bad as like as after that. Like after like 2020 onwards, it started to really go to shit. to put it
Sure.
mildly.
One quick question I had was you had this one tournament. I was there actually. It was the one in China, the CSGO Asia Championship, where in this tournament you actually beat Mousespots, who eventually beat you in the final in the group stage. Then you go to the final, you beat MIBR. In the final, you play Mousespots, and this was actually the tournament that like sparked their own run. You know, I actually think they changed something about their team, and they were also in like a bad spot. You know, right? Is this one of those tournaments? Do you think where if you'd have actually won the final, do you think it changes what happens afterwards?
I would say so, but maybe like if we maybe it could have changed it for a little bit, but maybe eventually everything would still go the same because like well I don't know but I do think like that like there was like one thing that I like when we played the major, right? And after that we had the Blast Moscow instantly, and then 1 week we had IEM New York or ESL1 New York, and then instantly from New York to Malmö DreamHack Masters, which is quite a lot for a new team basically.
Sure.
Or you swap the player, right? So like we tried to like talk about it with ENCE that like maybe it would be better if we skip 1 or 2 of these tournaments, you know, so we can get the required practice, so we can start the new ENCE with the right foot, you know.
Yes.
But instead, like we got denied. You just have to play these things, and then like we play them, they go to shit. Well, in Malmö we did win Fnatic though, and they won the tournament. But
yeah, sure.
What does it matter really? And then we lost to Vitality again. Then actually after that, like we had 3 weeks of practice for IEM Beijing, and that practice was honestly like insane. Like it reminded me a bit of like the NiP times. Like we were just like everyone was clicking and everything went well, right? In Prague.
Okay.
Then we go to China and we get fucking destroyed. Like I think we play first game we play 100 Thieves. We get wrecked. Then we play Vichy Gaming, like this Chinese team, and we barely beat them. Like we were losing on train like 13-14 or something. Second map we already lost the first map, and Sergey clutched like a huge 1-on-2 or whatever, which then bounced us back, and then we won the game, right? And then we play 100 Thieves again, and then we get fucked again. And after that, like I just remember like I was really stressed at that tournament. Like I didn't really know what to do or to say, you know, in game. Like I remember in Nuke T against 100 Thieves, like there was one round like a default round that we didn't have really any plans, just take map control and whatever. Well, we were basically, it was like we were losing like hard already, and then like I don't remember, somebody asked in TeamSpeak that, hey, what are we doing, or like what should we do next, you know? And I remember just replying to him that, man, I don't know. Like
Sure.
I have no fucking idea what to do here. But yeah, like, and that's like that's also like one like yeah, like just to like in practice everything can be perfect, but when you go to the tournament it can go to shit real fast, you know.
Yes.
Sometimes like if you like even one round loss or whatever can really shift the whole game around, you know.
Sure.
Like it is like it's crazy how like you really need to be able to have the confidence and the like the belief on your abilities as a team, you know, like that
Yes.
it cannot be shaked. I think this is like really important for a proper like a good team to be strong, you know,
Yeah.
and mentally, and like we weren't at all actually, which is most likely part of like multiple factors, like all that drama behind like we not getting the results that we wanted. We also set the bar really high for ourselves. Like we were not happy at all. Like even though we placed like after these bad results, right? And or bad and bad results, and then we played this CSGO Asian Championship, and where we placed second, right? And we beat MoSports before, but then we lose in the final, whatever. But we were not happy about that either, you know, the
Sure.
second place, because we kind of needed to win. But then, like, if you think about it, like you lose to MoSports in a tight game, then you see next week MoSports is winning EPL.
True.
You know, it should tell you something that maybe we are on the right path, right?
Yes.
Maybe we are doing things correctly, but this is not how the thing were in our minds, I would say. It was rather that everything is shit, everything is going to shit, we need to switch everything, you know?
Right.
And then we played the last tournament of the year in Malta. And there we played like decently, and then we lost to G2. Like before, Nico didn't play there yet.
No.
But still, this G2 was like on the rise. They were on the rise. They were like on the brink of breaking tier 1, I would say. Maybe. And
Okay.
we lost the game like we won one map, like it was 3 maps. Train was the last map, and then like we lead the game 15-14. We go overtime, we lose. I think it was something like this. But then like after that, like that was also a bad result by us, like in our minds. Maybe it was also on paper, but like we just couldn't take anything positive, even though there were a lot of positives, you know. In there, like even if you lose or you do bad, there is still always something you can be like, you
Yeah, of
can,
course.
you know, you can get a grip on, and you know, because if you always just think that oh my god, we are bad, this is bad, everything is bad, you know, that's not really, it doesn't really push you forward per se. Like it brings you down quite a bit. And like, and then after that, like we can see like 1 month or 2 months from that, like the G2 went to the final of Katowice, right?
Yes.
So again, like even though it doesn't translate, like of course it's not like 1+1, like you almost beat or you beat some team and they won a tournament, you should
Yeah,
be
of
as
course.
good. Obviously it's not like that, but it just tells you that you are doing something correct.
It's good. It's like a hint, isn't it? Yeah, something's going on.
Yeah, it's a hint that like maybe we can be, maybe we can, you know,
Yes.
rather than maybe we can't.
Yes.
And then like after like 2012, right, like it was really bad. Like I think everything, like we played this IC challenge, we lost to OG, then we lost to FPX, whatever they were then, Godsend
Godsend,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, then we went to DreamHack Open Anaheim. There we lost to some Gen G. Yeah, and then we lost the best of 3 against MIBR. And then like the online thing started.
Yes.
And then like Pro League went pretty bad, I think.
Sure. I've got a quick question, right? One of the things about what you were describing there, of like that nuke game where it's just going to shit, and then someone's like, "What do you do?" and you're like, "I don't fucking know." Right? That's what I always try to describe. Actually, when I've known like star players who did the IGL in for a while, sometimes it works. You know, sometimes the team's good, or they don't have to do quite a loose style. But I always tell them the part that you're not going to enjoy, and this is why I respect the people who like just commit for their whole career to be an IGL, is the part that sucks. Is that type of a game? It's a game where like nothing that you did in practice is working. You lose all the fucking pistols and all the gun rounds, you know, they win an anti-eco against it. Like, in that scenario, that's the worst job in the game, is to be the guy who has to keep calling and stuff.
Sure.
And convince yourself in your mind you can win, but even the players are looking at you like, what do we do? Like, aren't we just getting smashed right now? That sucks, right?
Yeah, and also, like, the thing that, like, obviously, like, myself, who been, like, I have been in-game leader before ENCE even, like, in many teams I've done it. But like one thing that is maybe like what people mostly don't understand, like the others who are the in-game leaders, right? That you have to do it all the time. Like it's not like when you, let's say, like myself, I consider myself pretty good mid-round caller to give input, whatever, right?
Okay.
And in the game, sometimes I see something that can win us 2 rounds, 3 rounds in a row, right? Just in freeze time, I can call something. Okay. But then I can always do it when I feel like it, when I know it's correct, you know? I just know. I for whatever reason, I know that this is going to work now. And then it's easy. But then if you do it 30 rounds in a row, well, obviously in CT side, you probably won't. You don't necessarily control that much. Depends on the team, of course. But like as T, you most likely call for 15 rounds in a row. Then it's pretty easy to chime in like 1 or 2 rounds, you know. Yeah, we should do this round, whatever. Because then like, but it's the hardest part is that because you have to do it all the time. And obviously like also like, because like even though you say what we are doing or you call, right, then like people obviously like sometimes fuck up. You have to just take it, you know. Okay, whatever. I had a perfect call. Somebody missed a smoke. Who cares, you know? Like you really need to have like pretty like you have to have a pretty big like tolerance for like things going bad,
right,
to be able to be a really good in-game leader, I think.
Sure. Right, obviously, a lot of the online area, there's bad results. So I just wanted to just ask a general question about that, which is, you're someone who's played all these different teams, all these different lands, years and years and years and years of the game. How did you handle the idea that every game's online? Every game you're in your bedroom, every game, you know, the opponent is a guy where he doesn't have to be at his first LAN. Or it's almost like it reset everything for everyone. So how did you handle this period?
Actually, I think like for me, like as like 2019 was really like, it was really hectic for us, right? We played a lot of tournaments and I becoming a father.
Sure.
You know? So in that sense, like in personal level, like be able to be home more was really great. Like, yeah, as I said, like being at home, to be able to really like learn how to be a father, you know, to experience it like in a more proper way than, you know, being away once in a while or once in a very often. So like in that sense it was like great. But obviously like if you think about like DS wise, it was not rough in the sense that like if online is anything you can play, like if it's the only thing you can play, you just do it, right? But it doesn't feel the same, right? Like now when like there is this IEM fall going on, and like I watched pretty like a lot of the games, and even the watching or the viewing experience, when you see like, even though it's a hotel room LAN, basically, it is still like it feels that there is something, you know, it's more. You know, even though you would watch like a air event online, it doesn't really, you just don't get the same vibes as a viewer either, I would say. At least me. And this applies obviously if you play like LAN playing is so much different. Like, you know, in the sense like to like not to take anything away from like teams that been really good online. Of course, it counts, you know, like because it's the only thing where you can measure
Yeah, of
anything
course.
right now. Like, but like still like back in the days or even in CSGO, like online results never counted for anything, right?
Yes.
And that's like how it is. But obviously now the online era was different because then online is the only place where you can play. But yeah, I would say that it is really good to see that the LANs are slowly coming back.
Right, an obvious question, it's one of the last I'm going to ask here is allu finished in CSGO? Is there a plan to come back? What can you tell us?
The answer is no. And the answer to no is to I'm not finished. And well, like right now I've been playing, like I had a 3 months break. I've been playing for 1 month now, grinding FPL quite a bit, streaming and whatever. Like I'm just waiting and seeing what's happening, you know. And I can't wait to be back.
Do you have in your career like any goals? Do you ever set anything specific? Like, do you want to play at another major? Do you want to win a like? Do you have anything? Is it just to be a good player again? What's the goal?
Like right now the goal is just to kind of how would I say, like show to myself that I can do it, you know. It's hard to like describe it, but it's like, you know, like when I went to the break or like left the ENCE team, it was one of the hardest decisions like that I've made, but I was just so, you know, empty. Like I didn't feel like myself at all, and playing felt bad, and everything felt like, you know, I was like burned out from the from everything that's happened during the years, and like to be able to recover, to reignite the flame. Like I spoke earlier about that it is really important for you to wanting to be there, you know.
Yes.
Wanting to put the extra effort, the extra hour, whatever, you know, to be better, to compete, to win. And I think I regained that flame during my time away, and now I'm just waiting for someone to give me a chance to show it.
Okay. At the end of this interview, it's been a monster, but it's a good one. At the end of the interview, do you have any final message? You want to thank someone or say hello to someone?
No, man.
Okay.
I'm all good.
Kiitos.
Kiitos.
This video was kindly supported by Lager15, Matt Pugnacio Ricula, Scapperin, Travis Goff, Zach Smid, Adam Oaks, Alexander Rao, Animosity, Butt Pounder 420, Chris, Hades, J-Dubs, Jensen Go, John Shelton, Joseph Ginsberg, Kovacevic, Tobias Bernasconi, Zumba, Zyrathenia, and as always, a special thanks goes out to both Jerky's Minion and DZL. Do you want to suggest a topic or a guest for my content? Would you like to ask a question for my monthly AMA? Want teasers for upcoming content or interview guests have I done, etc.? Do you want to take part in one of those donated discussions? Well, if you want any of the above and previously mentioned, put your money where your mouth is and join the Scroomalati today at the description box link to Patreon.